all, it's Jessica from Sloppy Swatches. Today I have a look at the Little Miss Nutcracker Holiday 2017 collection that is available right now by Morgan Taylor. Today I'll be sharing the polished versions with you, but they are available also in the gelish formula. So first up, I'm going to show you the base coat that was sent. These were sent to me as part of the Preen.me VIP program. If you're interested, I'll leave it down below. So here's a quick look at that base coat. I can't speak to wear time today because I did immediately remove them and move on to the next one, but they also sent me this really gorgeous top coat. These are not gel. They look like they're in gel bottles, but they're supposed to extend your wear in a really easy to use regular lacquer line. So there's a quick look at that brush. Now on to the polishes. So first up is Dreaming of Gleaming, and this is described simply as a liquid silver metallic. So there's a quick look at that bottle shot. This is very chrome-like on the nail, not quite mirror-like, but very beautifully bright silver. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Dreaming of Gleaming swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. You can see how beautifully that brush fans out for application. Just perfect. It does have that nice rounded edge. This one is incredibly opaque. I think honestly you can get away with one coat. I did notice some brush stroking here, so I am going to go ahead and let this dry and then show you how it looks when you sponge off that finish. It kind of mellows out any brush strokes that you would have in the finished look. So I'm just using a latex makeup sponge and applying that Dreaming of Gleaming pretty liberally to this brush. And then I'm going to go ahead around my cuticle area and add some Cuticula nail barrier. You can see it there on the nail, and then just sponge that directly onto the nail. That liquid latex is going to do a great job at protecting the skin and making cleanup a breeze. So there's a look at that finished look. I do prefer this. It just looks much cleaner and you don't get all those brush strokes kind of all in the way. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that liquid latex, and this is a look at that final shot at an angle underneath my artificial lighting. So next up is Just Too Much, and this is described as a glamour gold metallic. So you can see there in the finish that there is tiny micro flakes. This is going to be a lot less brushstroke heavy, so maybe a little bit easier to apply. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Just Too Much swatched on my natural nail. This is my pinky nail. I kind of flubbed my ring nail. That's usually the one that I film, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how it applies here just as smoothly and easy as any of the rest of my nails. I did still have a flash of nail line there, so I'm going to go ahead, I'll let that dry, and then show you how it applies with that second coat. 2 coats does bring this one completely opaque. Also, that rounded brush does a wonderful job at getting really close to the cuticle line, even on my smaller nails. So this is a look at my final swatch photo at an angle underneath artificial lighting. So next up is Plum Thing Magical, and this is my #1 top pick of this collection, just super beautiful. So this one is described as a royal purple shimmer, which I think is a very appropriate description of this polish. It does have a very strong shimmer there in this purple base. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Plum Thing Magical swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one does have a little bit of a more jelly formula, so it's going to allow that shimmer to build up on itself. One coat went on really smooth, really easy, but just a little bit sheer. So I'm going to go ahead, complete this coat, let it dry down, and then show you how it built up with that second coat. I did notice some very minimal brush stroking with this polish, but really that shimmer is going to come right through and kind of obscure any of those. So here's a look at that second coat. I did go in for maybe a little bit of a thicker second coat, and this brings this one right to the edge of being completely opaque. You can still see my nail line here. That shimmer does a really good job at masking that though, so if you want to go in for a third coat, I would totally be down for that. So here's a look at my completed mani at 2 coats at an angle under that artificial lighting. So next up is Don't Toy With My Heart, and this is described as a shimmery red. So this is a very fiery, bright red. It does have some gold flakes running out and maybe a deep gold or orange tone at extreme angles. So this is another top pick definitely for me. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Don't Toy With My Heart swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This one goes on super smooth, very easy, pretty opaque. I did notice maybe a little bit of nail line peeking through, so I am going to go ahead and let this dry and then show you how it built up for me with that second coat. So here's a look at my second coat. It does just make that red just a little bit more intense. I do recommend going in for that second coat. It also helped me get a little bit closer there to my sidewalls. Just a really beautiful, fiery polish that's going to look great for Christmas or all year round. I do recommend going in with 1 coat of your favorite glossy top coat, but here is my final swatch photo at an angle underneath artificial lighting. Next up is You Crack Me Up, and this polish is definitely a wild card. It's described as a bright, sparkly, glittery green. So this is a green metallic micro glitter polish in a green tinted base. So this polish is amazing. The formula is hands down just incredible. So here's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how you crack me up swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. This polish is super dense but really easy to apply. It's not going to be gritty on the nail at all. You can see there that green tinted base doing its job and really helping out that opacity. I am going to go ahead and let that dry and then show you how it built up for me with a second coat. With this second careful coat, I did kind of have to make sure that I got all of those micro glitters spread out. This one is pretty much opaque. It does dry down with a little bit of texture, so again, I do recommend going in with one coat of your favorite quick dry top coat. And this is my final swatch photo at an angle underneath that artificial lighting. I wish I'd got this one out in the sun for you guys. So next up is Baby It's Bold Outside, and this is the only cream in this collection, and it is amazing. So this is described as a deep, creamy navy blue. I didn't have any staining with this polish. It is super, super pigmented, but I did use my base coat. So there's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Baby It's Bold Outside swatched on my natural nail. So here's a look at that first easy coat. I did kind of wipe off my brush a little bit there. I usually tend to go in for more thicker coats, so I'm going to go ahead and re-dip, and with one really careful coat, this polish can be completely opaque with no issues at all. I am going to go ahead and do a really quick second coat just to make sure that I get really close to the sidewalls. So here's a quick look at that. This one does maybe dry down a little bit darker than it applies, and it is incredibly gorgeous, very deep, very creamy. This one was just a dream to work with. So here's a look at my final swatch photo at an angle, again underneath that artificial lighting, and I will be using this as a base for the topper next. So next up is Silver in My Stockings, and this is described as a silver glitter topper. So this has maybe a bead of silver shimmer running throughout a clear base and a ton of a silver metallic shred. So very definitely unique to my collection. There's a quick look at that brush shot, and then I'll show you how Silver in My Stockings swatched over Baby It's Bold Outside. So here's a quick look at one easy coat. This is a little bit of a sparser topper, but I did get all of those larger silver flakes just in one pass. So if you wanted to go in for a second coat, you totally could. I don't think that this is a polish that's going to be opaque on its own, but it is a gorgeous topper. So that is my final swatch photo at an angle under that artificial lighting, and that does wrap up my swatch and review of the Little Miss Nutcracker collection. These are available right now, again, in the Morgan Taylor line, which I think doesn't get enough credit, or the Jealous Gel line if you're interested. If you'd like to see more photos of any of the polishes shown here today, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.com. Thank you guys for bearing with me through this cold and watching this entire video. If you're interested, I do have more photos on my Instagram as well at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.